The moment you stop explaining yourself to the world, your true power begins. Think about that for a moment. How much of your life have you spent justifying your decisions to people who were never going to understand them anyway? How many hours have you wasted arguing with people who had already made up their minds before you even opened your mouth? Most people spend their entire lives trapped in a cycle of reaction. Someone says something, and they feel compelled to respond. Someone questions their choices, and they feel an overwhelming need to defend themselves. Someone doubts their path, and suddenly, they are rearranging their entire life to prove a stranger wrong. But the truly powerful among us operate differently. They have discovered a secret that most people never learn. Silence is not the absence of power. Silence is the highest expression of it. Tonight, we will explore 3 ancient laws of inner power that the greatest minds in human history understood. Laws that most people learn far too late, if they learn them at all. In ancient Rome, more than 1800 years ago, the philosopher Emperor Marcus Aurelius sat alone in his tent during a brutal military campaign along the frozen banks of the Danube River. Around him, his empire was crumbling. Barbarian tribes pressed against the borders. A devastating plague swept through his legions. Political enemies conspired against him in the Senate. And yet, in the midst of all this chaos, Marcus Aurelius did something extraordinary. He opened his private journal and wrote words that would echo through the centuries. He said, "You always have the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you cannot control. Things themselves cannot touch the soul." Consider the weight of that statement. You always have the option of having no opinion. In a world that demands you have an opinion about everything, that pressures you to take a side on every issue, that judges you for your silence, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that silence is always available to us, not as a weakness, but as a choice, perhaps the most powerful choice you will ever make. The Stoic philosophers understood something that modern psychology is only now beginning to confirm. Every reaction you give costs you energy. Every argument you engage in depletes your mental reserves. Every unnecessary explanation you offer weakens your position. Science now tells us that our willpower, our decision-making capacity, our emotional regulation, these are finite resources that are drained every time we engage in conflict. Epictetus, a former slave who endured years of brutal treatment before earning his freedom, became one of the most influential philosophers in history. Despite everything he suffered, or perhaps because of it, he taught his students a fundamental truth. He said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And the most powerful reaction of all is often no reaction at all. His master once twisted his leg, and Epictetus calmly said, "If you continue, you will break it." When his master did break it, Epictetus simply said, "I told you so." No rag, no begging, no loss of dignity, just quiet, unshakable calm in the face of the worst that life could deliver. Seneca, the great Roman statesman and philosopher who advised emperors and survived political exile, put it even more bluntly. He wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Most of the things we argue about, most of the opinions we feel compelled to defend, most of the conflicts we engage in, they exist primarily in our minds. They are shadows on the wall that we mistake for real threats, and we exhaust ourselves fighting shadows. Consider the first immutable law of inner power. Silence is emotional sovereignty. When someone insults you and you immediately fire back with a response, what have you actually accomplished? You have given them exactly what they wanted. You have proven that their words have power over your emotional state. You have handed them the remote control to your inner world and said, "Here, you decide how I feel today." But when someone insults you and you simply look at them, acknowledge their words with the faintest nod, and then continue about your business as if nothing happened, something remarkable occurs. The power dynamic shifts entirely. They expected a reaction. They were counting on it. Their entire strategy depended on provoking you. And when they did not get what they wanted, they are left standing there, holding their own negative energy, with nowhere to put it. This is what emotional sovereignty looks like. In practice, it is not about suppressing your emotions. It is not about pretending you do not feel anything. It is about choosing which emotions deserve your energy and which ones are simply distractions designed to pull you away from your purpose. The samurai of feudal Japan understood this principle deeply. They called it mushin, or the mind of no mind, a state of complete presence without emotional attachment. In battle, the warrior who reacted emotionally to every feint and every taunt would quickly exhaust himself and fall. But the warrior who maintained inner stillness, who observed without reacting, who waited for the right moment with infinite patience, that warrior was nearly impossible to defeat. The lesson is clear. Your emotions are not your enemy, but uncontrolled reactions to your emotions will destroy you faster than any external opponent ever could. The second law of inner power is equally important. Protect your mental focus at all costs. Your attention is the most valuable resource you possess. More valuable than money, more valuable than time itself, because without focused attention, both money and time become meaningless. You can have all the time in the world, but if your attention is scattered across 1,000 petty concerns and meaningless arguments, you will accomplish nothing of significance. Every argument you engage in is a tax on your attention. Every unnecessary explanation you give is a withdrawal from your mental bank account. Every moment you spend trying to change someone's mind about you is a moment stolen from building something that actually matters. The great inventor Nikola Tesla understood this principle better than perhaps anyone in history. He lived in near total isolation for years, not because he hated people, but because he understood that his mental energy was finite and precious. Every social obligation, every meaningless conversation, every petty dispute would steal precious bandwidth from the work that defined his legacy. And what a legacy it was! The man who lit up the entire world did so from the silence of his own mind. Leonardo da Vinci kept notebooks filled with observations and ideas that were centuries ahead of his time, but he rarely shared them with others during his lifetime. He understood that explaining his vision to people who could not yet comprehend it would only drain the creative force. He needed to bring that vision into reality. His silence was not born of arrogance. It was born of a deep understanding that creation requires protection. Think about the most productive period of your own life. Was it a time when you were constantly explaining yourself to others? Was it a time when you were arguing on social media, debating with coworkers, justifying your choices to family members? Or was it a time when you went quiet, shut out the noise, put your head down, and simply did the work? The answer reveals everything you need to know about the relationship between silence and achievement. The third, and perhaps most important law of inner power, is this: let your results speak so loudly that your words become unnecessary. There is a profound difference between telling people what you are going to do and showing them what you have done. The first approach invites criticism, doubt, and interference. The second approach leaves no room for argument. When you announce your plans to the world, you invite the world to judge those plans before they have had a chance to mature. You expose your fragile seedling of an idea to the harsh winds of public opinion before it has developed roots strong enough to withstand them. And more often than not, the criticism kills the dream before it ever has a chance to grow. But when you work in silence and then reveal a finished product, a completed vision, a fully realized dream, there is nothing left to argue about. The evidence stands before them. Your results have become your argument, and results are the only argument that can never be refuted. Consider how many of the greatest achievements in human history were accomplished in relative silence. The Wright brothers did not hold press conferences about their plans to build a flying machine. They did not post updates about their progress. They did not seek validation from experts who would have told them it was impossible. They worked quietly in their bicycle shop, testing and failing, and testing again, until one cold December morning, in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, they simply flew. And in that single, magnificent moment, every doubter, every critic, every so-called expert who said it could not be done, all of them were silenced by the simple, undeniable reality of a machine rising into the air. So how do you apply these laws in your daily life? How do you cultivate the power of silence in a world that rewards noise and punishes quietness? First, practice the pause. When someone says something that triggers an emotional response in you, do not respond immediately. Take a breath. Count to 3. Let the moment pass through you like water through an open hand. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, let it pass. Your silence in that moment is not weakness. It is the ultimate display of self-control. Second, audit your explanations. For 1 week, pay attention to how many times you explain yourself to others without being asked. How many times do you justify a decision that is yours alone to make? How many times do you offer reasons for your choices to people who have no stake in the outcome? Each unnecessary explanation is a leak in your personal power. Seal those leaks and watch how quickly your energy and confidence return. Third, set boundaries with your energy. Not every conversation deserves your participation. Not every debate requires your input. Not every criticism warrants a defense. Learn to distinguish between the battles that matter and the distractions that masquerade as important conflicts. The wise warrior chooses their battles carefully, and they choose far fewer than most people expect. Fourth, invest your silence in creation. The energy you save by not arguing, not explaining, not defending, redirect that energy toward building something meaningful, right? Create, build, study, train. Use your silence as fuel for your vision. Let the quiet hours become your most productive hours. As we come to the end of this reflection, consider one final truth that may change the way you see the world. Throughout history, the most powerful rooms have always been the quietest ones. The war room, where decisive strategies are formed in hushed tones. The laboratory, where world-changing discoveries emerge from years of patient, silent observation. The study, where masterpieces are written in solitude, far from the noise of the crowd. These rooms are quiet, not by accident, but by design, because the people in those rooms understand a truth that most never grasp. Noise is the enemy of depth. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. The person who talks the most rarely knows the most. The one who is constantly defending their position is usually the one who is least secure in it. True confidence does not need to announce itself. True intelligence does not need to prove itself. True power does not need to defend itself. These things simply are, and their existence speaks louder than any words ever could. As you navigate through the remaining days of your life, carry this wisdom with you like a lantern in the darkness. When you feel the urge to explain, resist it. When you feel the impulse to argue, release it. When you feel the need to prove yourself to someone who is determined to misunderstand you, remember, the greatest proof is not in the words you speak, but in the life you are building with your own 2 hands. The quietest room often holds the most powerful thoughts. The stillest water reflects the clearest image. The person who says nothing often knows everything. Master your inner world, guard your silence, and let your presence speak for itself. This is the way of the wise. This has always been the way. This is the power of silence.